Some social media users worry that the United States' support for Ukraine in its war with Russia could backfire. Take a look at this tweet, which claims that Russia said it might allow the International Space Station to fall out of the sky if Americans continue to support Ukraine. And this one claims that the head of Roscosmos, which is basically Russia's version of NASA, suggested that the International Space Station will fall onto the US, Europe, India, and China if the US continues to back Ukraine. But is there any truth to these claims? And should we be freaking out right now? Time to find out, is this legit? Hey everyone, it's Pride and welcome back to another episode of Is This Legit, a MediaWise and PBS Student Reporting Lab series where we fact check viral misinformation and teach you ways that you can do it on your own. First, a little background. It's no secret that Russia and the US have butted heads politically over the years, but in space, things have stayed pretty civil. According to this article from Axios, the space station is one of the rare areas of cooperation between the US and Russia. According to NASA's page on international cooperation, the International Space Station was first launched in 1998 and involved the US, Russia, Canada, Japan, and some other countries from the European Space Agency. But could the International Space Station, known as the ISS, considered one of the greatest human achievements ever, really come crashing down over the war in Ukraine? This tweet says that this news came directly from the head of Roscosmos, so first things first is we have to find out if this threat was really made. I turned to Google and did a keyword search of head of Roscosmos says ISS could fall out of the sky because of sanctions and found this Newsweek article. And according to the Newsweek article, yes, the head of Russia's space agency, Dmitry Rogozin, did warn in a thread on Twitter that the space station could fall out of orbit. According to the article, Rogozin tweeted on February 24th, "If you block cooperation with us, who will save the ISS from an uncontrolled deorbit and fall into the United States or Europe? There's also the option of dropping a 500-ton structure to India and China. Do you want to threaten them with such a prospect?" I wanted to see the full Twitter thread for myself, but when I clicked on the hyperlink that Newsweek included, it said I was unable to view it because the account owner has limits on who can see their tweets. But there's actually a way we might be able to see the thread using a tool called the Wayback Machine. The Wayback Machine is an internet archive and a great resource for fact checking. It essentially allows you to virtually travel back in time so you can see how a website has changed over the years. Copying over the link from Rogozin's Twitter and hovering over the date that the tweet was posted, February 24th, you can see that several snapshots of the page were taken that day. And clicking on the last snapshot, we can now see the entire thread. So yes, the head of Roscosmos did say that the ISS could fall out of the sky over US sanctions of Russia. So at least we know where this claim originated. But is there any truth to Rogozin's claim? Well, according to this article from Time, this isn't the first time Rogozin has tweeted some seriously wild threats. Back in 2014, he even wrote that the US should bring their astronauts to the International Space Station using a trampoline. And according to the Associated Press, after Rogozin tweeted that the US will now have to use broomsticks to fly to outer space, former space station commander Terry Bird told Time, "I was not surprised based on his previous behavior. This is what I've come to expect. On one hand, I responded with an eye roll. On the other hand, I thought, he just really damaged the space station partnership." And what's NASA's response to all of this? They're basically like, meh. NASA's administrator Bill Nelson said, "That's just Dmitry Rogozin. He spouts off every now and then, but at the end of the day, he's worked with us. The other people that work in the Russian civilian space program, they're professional." Finally, I found this article from The Verge. They reported that while it's true that the ISS needs Russia to help keep the station in orbit, it's not like the station would fall out of the sky immediately if Russia walks away from the table. But now it's time for a rating. While the director of Roscosmos, Rogozin, did threaten that the International Space Station could come crashing down to Earth, experts agree that this is highly unlikely. And even if Russia did leave the ISS, that wouldn't cause the station to deorbit instantly. So we'll give this claim a mostly not legit rating. Well, that's about all the time we have. I linked all my sources down in the description, and there are a lot of them since remember, it's always a good idea to open up a bunch of tabs and read multiple sources to make sure that you have a full understanding of the issue. For more fact checks, be sure to follow MediaWise across social media. You can also let us know of any misinformation you'd like us to fact check in the comments or by using the hashtag #IsThisLegit. Thank you so much for watching. Blast off.
Don't compromise, be media wise.